joined by the country's leading vaccine scientist. Dr. Gagandeep Kang is joining me. She's with CMC Vellore. Appreciate your joining us, Dr. Kang. I want to ask you the first question. As the world seems excited with both Moderna and Pfizer reporting more than 90% efficacy in their vaccine trials, what does this mean for us here in India? Is a vaccine round the corner? Do you share this excitement around the world at the moment? Should we be sharing it here in India?
It is a tremendously exciting time. These are completely unexpected results. I think all of us were thinking that we would have a vaccine that was 60 or 70% efficacious, and even that would have been a very, very useful tool. But to think about a vaccine that is showing at least initial results of 60 or, well, 90% now, and in fact, in the case of Moderna, we are seeing that it's preventing practically all severe disease. That's phenomenal. And I anticipate that these results should hold. It won't be perfect, but it'll be very, very, very good at protecting from disease and most likely from infection as well.
But Dr. Kang, from an Indian perspective, are you concerned that Moderna, for example, requires storage of the vaccine at -20 degrees and a limited shelf life of 30 hours? Pfizer, -75 degrees Celsius, again a limited shelf life reported to be as limited as 24 to 48 hours. Does that mean that both Moderna and Pfizer, to that extent, are not suited for Indian conditions?
They may not be suited for the Indian program, particularly the Pfizer vaccine, which requires -70 to -80 for long-term storage. The Moderna is more tractable. -20 is something that we've done before for polio, and the Moderna vaccine can be kept at 2 to 8 degrees for a month. Given that the supply is going to be the critical limiting factor, I think it would be possible to cycle the Moderna vaccines sufficiently to be able to roll them out in the program. The concern with both the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccines are the costs, because these vaccines are much, much, much more expensive than we've ever had for any vaccine in the program. It's in the several thousand rupees per dose of vaccine. So I think the excitement is we have successful vaccines and more than one. So this shows us that vaccines that are based on the spike protein of the virus are likely to work. And the emerging data on a much smaller number of patients from the Gamaleya study seems to indicate that the spike protein is working not only in the mRNA platform, but also in the adenovirus platform. If that is the case, and we are going to have multiple platforms which will give us successful vaccines, then we are in a very, very good position where prevention of disease and infection is concerned. We really have a tool that could help us handle this pandemic.
You know, you made an important point about affordability, and can I add to that accessibility? The fear is that Moderna and Pfizer's vaccines will first be made available to America and the West as part of this vaccine nationalism, that the high-income countries have already placed orders and are cornering a major part of these vaccines. India has not signed any agreements with Moderna and Pfizer. To that extent, should we in India still be more dependent on the success either of the AstraZeneca vaccine, where Serum Institute of Pune has tied up with it, or the other indigenous vaccines, Bharat Biotech, others being developed? Do we wait for that? Or do you see us benefiting from Moderna or Pfizer by January of 2021 as America is hoping to benefit?
So if you look at the Moderna and the Pfizer results, they are not going to submit to FDA tomorrow. They have to generate safety data. This data is clinical efficacy data showing that the vaccine works, it does what it's supposed to, it's safe, it's preventing disease and it's preventing severe disease. but they are required to have at least 2 months of safety data for 50% of the people that they have recruited into their clinical trial. Those data are not yet available. Once they become available, which for Pfizer may be as early as next week, they will be going ahead to the FDA, going for an emergency use authorization. Only then will they be able to roll the vaccine out to the US. And other regulatory authorities will have to look at Pfizer and Moderna's data, see whether they are satisfied with that data, whether they want or because of their legal requirements need to do certain studies in their own populations before these vaccines can become available. So in India's case, usually we have a requirement for bridging studies in our people before we give vaccines licensure. So we'll have to wait and see what the DCGI says. And AstraZeneca is not very far behind. We will have AstraZeneca's efficacy results probably later this month or next month. And Serum Institute has already completed their immunogenicity studies. So we can bridge to the efficacy results from AstraZeneca, and we could have a licensure for AstraZeneca before we have one for Pfizer and Moderna.